We're live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Metaphysical Bible Hangout. This is a Thursday night Bible study for Up Church. I am Reverend Sherri James, Senior Minister for Understanding Principles, and I am beyond excited to be here. This is like my favorite thing to do, and I'm going to jump just right in because we started about 60 seconds late, and there's a lot to go over for this one. All right. Do you know how to get your thoughts and feelings to agree? That's the question of tonight. Do you know how to get your thoughts and feelings to agree? We're in chapter 3 of Prayer, the Art of Believing. If you're reading in the Neville Reader, which is the book that I'm working from, it technically is chapter 18, but it's a collection of Neville's work. But it's chapter 3 in the actual book. The title of this chapter is Imagination and Faith. So I've got a few announcements, opening prayer. We're going to talk about, do you know how to get your thoughts and feelings to agree? And then we're going to talk about how to manage your consciousness. And then we're getting close to home for me, which is putting some feet underneath this teaching. This is not just so you can look smart to your friends or simply just to feel good about yourself. This has to do something. And then Q&A. And of course, ask questions throughout, please. Please. You got to know your why. So I always use the movie Inception because I love it. In fact, I even posted the theme song from Inception in today's blog post because I use that to focus when I'm doing my work. But the thing that I want to share with you is that before, as I was preparing for tonight, and I was looking at a couple of videos, just as I was just, putting on some makeup, putting a face on. Hey, Eve. Hey, Joe. Welcome, everybody. As I was, putting that together, I watched this video. I wonder how I can share it with you guys. Let me pull it up. It's a video. It's Oprah Winfrey talking about the difference between a career and a calling. And I thought that it was so powerful because what she talked about is like a job or a career pays your bills, and you need that because that's the way that exchange has been set up in our society. So you need a way to, pay your bills. But a calling is the thing that fuels you that you would do for free. And you guys have often heard me say that this is the video. I put the link in the chat there, and I'm gonna put it here in this chat. That I often say that this, I go wherever I go, I organize my life so that I can do this, and I'm grateful for the support that you guys give, but I still am required to work a job in order to support myself. But I would do this for free. Now, perhaps one day this will turn into like some incredible enterprise that like is funding schools in Africa, maybe. But it's the thing that I organize everything around, even probably more so than Sunday service. I mean, I love Sunday service, and what we do at Up Church is incredible. And we have, we try to be as different as possible because otherwise you could just get what we got at some other church. But this is just my fun time. And especially now that we're like rolling with my dude, Neville Goddard. This is it, is that these ideas excite me, and sharing these ideas with you is like, it's like a raspberry, no, I don't like raspberry. It's like a red velvet cake. It's just a fun thing that I love to do. And so I think that you should know what that is for yourself. What is that thing that fuels you even without you having to receive any kind of compensation for it? What is that? So, I wish for you that you find that because it's joyous. The feeling is exciting. And I love the spending time with you guys and sharing this. And I'm grateful y'all show up every Thursday night. The Bible Hangout is free, but it does cost. And so if this is blessing you and you want to see it bless more people, would you consider supporting it? Would you consider donating to it? You can do that right at revsherri.com. There's a PayPal button that says donate, and you make a gift. And a gift of any size is deeply appreciated. You may not know this, but I also work as a spiritual mentor. I will work with you one-on-one. It's one of the most satisfying things that I do, to help people get clear on what the Spirit is calling them to do. If you have had trouble getting clarity around, where am I supposed to be going? What am I supposed to be doing? What is my thing? Let's talk. Let me help you. Let me support you in realizing who God is calling you to be. And if you're a business owner and you want to make sure the spirituality is laced all up and through your business, not just that it's what you do on Sunday, but that it is part of how you conduct your business, then we should definitely talk. And so I work one-on-one with people, and I have packages available. And so if you're interested, please reach out. I would be honored to support you. We are moving to a new platform next week. So this week we are using YouTube Live, but YouTube changed their partnership. Turns out if you have less than I don't know, 4,000 subscribers, they just make it really hard for people to find you, and yeah, whatever. Anyway, the point is I'm moving to Zoom. So what that means is that those of you that are using smartphones or tablets, you'll be able, there's a Zoom app that little icon, that little camera, that's the Zoom Cloud Meetings. It's a free app. When you get in the, I should figure out how to do a little thing. I don't quite know how to do that. I have to get somebody to help me design that. Maybe I'll get somebody on Fiverr. But on your phone, no, you can't really see that. That's not a good. So the Zoom thing comes up, and there's a button there that says join, and you choose join, and there's a meeting ID. So I'll figure out how to get these pictures and things and send out a video, or maybe a video or something that explains how to do it. It's very, very simple. Like once you do it, you'll be like, oh my God, it was so easy. But it's very, very simple. There's a button that says join. You click the word join, and you're going to be given an option to enter the meeting ID. And right there is where you enter the meeting ID, and it'll bring you in. You can be on camera. You can close, you can turn your picture off so you don't have to be on camera. It also has an option that you can dial in, meaning like a conference call line. And so I put that in the email today, just to give you guys a heads up, and just so that you would be ready for that and be prepared for it. And so next week we will be on the Zoom platform, and I will figure out a schedule where I'll take the recordings and upload them to YouTube. But the live broadcast will be through the Zoom Cloud Meeting platform. Good evening, Andrea. Good to see you. The scripture, then he touched their eyes. Then he touched their eyes. My hope is that this work is touching your inner eye, saying, according to your faith, let it be to you. According to your faith, let it be to you. My prayer for this evening is that the work that we're doing is opening something deep inside of you, that it's connecting you with a deeper part of yourself, that it's awakening a belief in you that you can be, do, and have anything that you want to be, do, and have. I am trusting that God is going to meet me at my point of limitation as a teacher. I believe I'm a talented teacher, but I know that there are depths still to be explored. And so I'm asking God to meet me at my point of limitation, connect us spirit to spirit, soul to soul, and help us to discern this information as we study the words of Neville Goddard. There's a blessing in these pages, and I am calling it forward right now. Thank you, God. I know you always hear me when I pray, so I just relax, and I let this class be moved by the whole Spirit of God. In the name and nature of Jesus, it is so, and so it is, and amen. So what this chapter is about getting thought and feeling to agree. If you look at the first paragraph, first sentence, what Neville says is that prayers are not successfully made unless there is rapport. To have a rapport with something is to have an agreement with it, have a harmony with it, right? Unless there is rapport between the conscious and the subconscious mind of the operator. You're the operator. Until your objective mind, the thinking part of you, and your subconscious mind, until those two parts of you are in harmony, prayer has not been successfully made. That's what this whole thing is about. And your tools for accomplishing that are imagination and faith. Your tools for establishing that agreement between your thinking and your feeling are imagination and faith. So if you go back and look at the first blog post, one of the things we said was that there were 4 skills. Of course, I don't have that blog post handy. There were 4 skills. There was the controlled imagination. There was the faith. I forgot the other 2. Being able to see the end and sit in the feeling. I forgot the 4th one. Anyway, but there were 4 skills. Oh, I guess I can turn back and read it. This was in the law of reversibility. He said you needed a controlled imagination. You needed, where are you at, Neville? The first page. Yeah. Oh, I forgot how I broke this up. Faith. I'm blanking on my own stuff. All right, those 4 qualities. So now we're basically at one of those qualities, which is imagination and faith, right? You need a controlled imagination. And a controlled imagination is important. And what that means is that I'm intentional and deliberate about where my mind goes. So here's the thing. In this kind of setting, it's controlled. It's, we're having a spiritual conversation. We're talking about spiritual things. We open this up. Baby, I've got class, so just hang on. That I got Jordan here with me, so the fingers. That I've got the controlled imagination, and so what's happening is that I'm on my P's and Q's. I'm not thinking negative thoughts. If I walked into this space feeling down about whatever was going on in my life, that just the joy of being here with you guys, opening the class in prayer, talking about how much I love doing this, that my imagination is in a high state of consciousness. But it's not these moments that are really the issue. It's when I'm not on my guard. It's when I am, headed down to the office and I'm in traffic and I want to get there 5 minutes early and GPS is telling me I'm going to be 5 minutes late, right? Where does my mind go? It's and those feelings of anxiety of oh God, not being early, that kind of energy when that comes up. So that's that, and someone who has mastered their imagination, who has controlled their imagination, has developed themselves in such a way that even when they're in that state that may be for others anxiety producing, that they know where to go in their minds to stay in a high state of consciousness. Athletes know this. Those of you that watched the most recent Super Bowl, you saw this. I mean, both of those teams were just phenomenal. And I was definitely rooting for the Eagles, maybe because I went to school in Philadelphia. I don't know. But one of the things for sure that I thought was so powerful, that whatever you think of Tom Brady, whatever you think of the New England Patriots, with 12 seconds on the clock, he tells the play that they run, he sends his team down to the other end of the field. And there are all these guys in the end zone waiting to catch the ball. And what I reflected on was just the degree of confidence you have to not throw in the towel with 12 seconds on the clock. And from a leadership standpoint, that your people down at the end of the field waiting to catch the ball, that they believe that you're going to throw a ball that they can catch. And there's some place that you have to be able to go in your mind to not let that go, to believe that you can pull it out in the end. And that's what that controlled imagination is about. And so I forgot, I got way off track. But the point is that getting those thoughts and feelings to agree that even when the stakes are like extremely high, that you can keep your thought and feeling aligned with your desired end. That you can keep the thought and feeling aligned with your desired end, regardless of what is happening around you, regardless of that. There's so many things to pull from that game, because the Philadelphia Eagles, they got a backup quarterback. The mentality that he had to go through to like push through the fact that he was the backup quarterback and to become a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Oh, what are you against? All right, I'm way off track. Let me get back on track, y'all. Any questions on that? Is this making sense? So Lita says, no, I got that level of control. Got it. That's what we're working towards, and you can get there. You don't have to be a world-class athlete to get there. That you can, through practice, through effort, through intentional prayer every day, working on yourself, you can develop that level of control for your own imagination. But you've got to do the work. You've got to do the work to develop that. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens by choice. So the prayer is not successfully made until you establish that agreement, and until that happens between your thinking and your feeling, or your conscious and your subconscious mind, or your objective and your subjective. So your conscious mind is thinking and objective. Your subconscious mind is feeling and subjective. When you get that agreement, so those, just so you know, because he flip-flops between those words, and sometimes that flip-flop can be confusing. That when he says conscious, he means objective and he means thinking. And when he says subconscious, he means feeling and he means subjective. In the mind of the operator, this is a phrase that you'll often hear if you ever listen to any of the recordings, of his audio recordings that you can listen to on YouTube. You'll always hear him say that you are the operant power, meaning that you're the operator. You're the one who operates all this, that you're the operant power as far as your mind is concerned. Things are not happening to your mind, even if you're not consciously aware and someone is making suggestions to you that you're accepting. They're still you accepting. So you're always in the seat of cause as far as your experience is concerned, even when you're not aware that you're sitting in the seat of cause. This is why it's so important to be with like-minded people especially when you're first starting out in this kind of training, because the people that you're around, they just influence you. I just finished reading a really awesome book that I highly recommend. It's Grit, and Angela Duckworth is the author. And one of the things that she says in the book, I'm going to pull up that last quote, because she talks about grittiness as your ability to endure and to follow through to an end, and that people who are gritty are they're the people that end up becoming world-class champions in whatever their particular field is. It doesn't have to necessarily be sports. And the thing is that talent is no guarantee of grit. That you can have talent, but talent undeveloped is just, everybody knows somebody that could sing Beyonce under the table, but they don't have the discipline and the grit that Beyonce has. Everybody knows somebody, they would say, oh my God, I love her. She's better than Whitney Houston. But she didn't have the grit that a Whitney Houston had in order to withstand all the slings and arrows that come with pursuing a dream. So what she said in this is that to be gritty is to keep putting one foot in front of the other. To be gritty is to hold fast to an interesting and purposeful goal. To be gritty is to invest day after week after year in challenging practice. That That to be greedy is to fall down 7 times and rise 8. It's that I keep getting back up, and not just that I keep getting back up, but every time I get back up, I get just a little bit better. I get just a little bit better. I get just a little bit better. And so in this, um, um, gosh, I got a lot of thoughts running through my head, y'all. Excuse me. Mommy. Yes, babe. When is my food? Good job, honey. Good job. I have a candy now. You can go downstairs and get your candy. Yes. Be gentle because it's a glass jar downstairs. Okay. It's the ability to get up in the face of failure, no matter what that is. It is where on your own you can grow grit from the inside out. You can cultivate your interest. You can develop a habit of daily challenge exceeding skill practice. Right? It's that every day I get just a little bit better. You can connect your work to a purpose beyond yourself, and you can learn to hope when all things lost. You can also grow grit from the outside in. Parents, coaches, teachers, bosses, mentors, friends. Developing your personal grit depends critically on other people. That when you get around other people, that they inevitably rub off on you. They end up influencing you, and you see companies and churches and social groups take on a character, and it becomes, well, this is just how we do things. She talked to Pete Carroll, who is the coach for the Seattle Seahawks, and this is what he talks about: developing a grit. In terms of his team, he says, personally, I've learned that if you create a vision for yourself and stick with it, you can make amazing things happen in your life. My experience is that once you have done the work to create the clear vision, it is the discipline, and effort to maintain that vision that can make it all come true. The two go hand in hand. The moment you've created the vision, you're on your way, but it's the diligence with which you stick to that vision that allow you to get there. And this is from his autobiography, Win Forever. That there is this commitment to something higher. That it's like, I know that there's this greatness, not just in me, but in everybody around me. And so the beauty of a team is that people begin to influence one another, and you begin to lift each other up in that spirit. And in my opinion, that's the value of a church, that you're in this space where I know that you've got the energy of God inside of you, and I'm holding you to a higher standard. And the culture of this is just how we do things. Johnny Coleman had that this is just how we do things. You show up on time. Everything begins on time. Sermons of 30 minutes, or else she's standing up from her seat to come get you off the platform, because this is just how we do things. And when you set that vision, you ruffle a couple of feathers as you're setting the vision, but eventually people fall in line, and then it just becomes, well, this is how we do things here. And people begin to develop a sense of pride in, this is how we do things here. And no, we wouldn't go this route because this is not representative of who we are as members of CUT, or this is not who we are as members of the Universal Foundation for Better Living. It just becomes part of a character. And so the beauty is that inside of a group, you can develop that kind of energy that helps keep you on your toes. So that even if you in your private time fall down in terms of your thinking and feeling, agreeing with a desired end, that when you get around the people that are in your social group or in your church or in your company, that they are supporting you to that higher level. This is the way we do things. This is how we show up. Anything less than this is not representative of what God is calling us to do. So I want to talk about how to manage your consciousness. And the first thing is that you got to take charge of your thoughts and feelings now. That's just the bottom line. You've got to take charge of your thoughts and feelings. This, in italics, is a quote from Neville that says, by the By the power of imagination, all men, you should include all women, Reverend Della would say, and that goes for women too. By the power of imagination, all men, certainly imaginative men, are forever casting forth enchantments, and all men, especially unimaginative men, are continually passing under their power. In short, you need to get a handle on your mind or you become the pawn in somebody else's story. Several years ago, I had the privilege of attending the Milken Global Conference. And this is an annual gathering. It's put together by Mike Milken, who was a junk bond king, and now he has a think tank in Santa Monica, California. He puts together this incredible global conference at the Beverly Hilton every year. At any given time, there's literally $1 trillion in the room in terms of net worth. And I had the opportunity to go and to attend 3 years in a row. It was the most amazing experience, just lavish abundance all around. It was wonderful. There was a guy from Chicago who was an NBC financial analyst. I believe he was a hedge fund manager. And he was like, going to take me under his wing and, let me help you kind of navigate this, because as an African American, he was one of the few African Americans that, so there's the business that happens at the conference, and then there was the business that happens in Michael Milken's suite. He was one of the few African Americans who was in the room with Michael Milken in the suite. And so we sat down. I remember literally sitting in the lobby of the Beverly Hilton, and I felt like I should back up and tell you where this comes from. So in the entertainment industry, I felt like everybody always had an agenda, and it felt dirty. Like it felt dirty to have an agenda. Everybody, when you were interacting with people, you always knew there was something they were trying to get from you or get you to do, right? So one of the things that I developed a sense of pride about is that, no, I'm not coming in with any agenda. This is, I'm not trying to get you to do something. I'm not coming in with any agenda. And I remember sitting down with him. I won't say his name because you'll be able to look him up and see his name. So I sat down with him, and so he literally asked me, what's your agenda? And I proudly said, I don't have one. And he looked at me as if to say, little girl, either you have an agenda or you'll become a pawn in somebody else's agenda. Now, you take that out of the world because, again, that was from a very worldly perspective. But from a spiritual perspective, this is about vision. That if you do not have a vision for your life, you will become a pawn in somebody else's vision. And so this is what Neville is saying in that, the first sentence of the second paragraph. By the power of imagination, all men, certainly imaginative men, and again, as Reverend Della would say, that goes for women too, are forever casting forth enchantments. Meaning that when you have a strong vision, that it cuts a path in the universe for the direction that you're moving in. And all men, especially unimaginative men, those who have not given direction to the energy of God inside of them. That's what it means to be unimaginative. It means that I am walking around with the energy of the universe inside of me, that I have within me that which has hung the moon and the stars. I have that within me that which would part the Red Sea. I have that within me that would call forth a burning bush to communicate with me. I have that within me that would cause the lame to walk, the deaf to hear, the dumb to speak, right? The blind to see. That's what I have inside of me. But if I have not learned to control my imagination, then I'm continually passing under the power of those who have learned to control their imagination. Not that they're necessarily using me intentionally, but I haven't decided what to do with the energy of God inside of me. And so I'm just swaying with time. Whatever comes up, sure, that sounds like a good idea. I'll go that direction. I hadn't decided a direction to go in. So what you're listening for is, what is the vision that God has called me to live? And that's why I got so excited about with Oprah, what I was listening to. I posted the video, that link that you got, if you're just joining in, that link that's in the in the chat, and I will put it in the show notes as well. That she talks about the difference between a career and a calling. It's that what is that thing that fuels you beyond just you getting a paycheck? And I shared that many of you are very generous with this broadcast, and I'm very, very grateful. But this is not the only thing that I have to do to make ends meet. But no matter what I do to make ends meet, I make myself available for this because this fuels me. It was when Oprah was figuring out that she loved to talk and that what it meant to be in an environment where she could talk and be herself. In this environment, I get to talk and be myself and share these principles that have made such a huge difference for me. So what is that thing that you have a vision for that fuels you, that you would do even if you had to do it for free, that you would do it for free? What is that? Someone said, thank you for saying creating a vision like with the vision board. Yes, you can have a vision board. Absolutely. You can absolutely have a vision board. But it can also be a vision statement. It doesn't necessarily have to be a vision board. So you begin to identify what are those, what do I stand for? What am I here for? I know that I am here for the awakening of people to the God presence inside of them. And I got this vision the other week, and I shared it in a sermon in terms of what we're doing at Up Church, that I see this community of people. We're chronologically an older community. We don't have that many. We have some young people in our community, but not a lot of young people in our community. So we're mainly Gen X and older. And what I saw was this group. It was a sermon on forgiveness, and it was about getting all these blocks out of the way. But I saw this community of people who are chronologically 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, writing books, climbing mountains, publishing albums, but not just like vanity projects, but I mean things that are really making an impact in the world, putting out art, motivational speeches. And I just saw this. And that we would be able to forgive all the things that are blocking the light, that are keeping the light from expressing in the highest and best way, that we would be able to do that, and that's what's being called forward, that's what's being expressed. So I don't know if that quite answers your question when you ask about the vision board, but it's the vision, it's as it's expressing through you, but that may not necessarily mean a vision board. That might mean a vision statement. It might mean, however that gets laid down. I do think it needs to be written down. I do think that. I do think you need to write it down. I think that that's important. Everything that I have read from everybody anywhere, from Dr. Tara Trent, even something I watched from Steve Harvey earlier today or yesterday, to Jamie Dimon, CEO for J.P. Morgan Chase, to Tom Bilyeu, founder of Impact Theory, to Oprah Winfrey, is that writing it down. There's something about writing it down that makes it concrete. So, short version: invest time to get clear on what you want. Invest time. There are plenty of resources. I mean, literally, you could just sit and just begin to write, and just every day spend time asking the Spirit, what is your vision for me? But there are plenty of programs that are out there to help you get clear on what is God's vision for your life. I actually have a course available through Thinkific that you can purchase. That's called Claim Jumpstart Your Life Purpose. That can help you get clear on what you want. That there are plenty of programs out there. If you begin to do the work, the right program for you will present itself. So invest the time to get clear on what you want, so that you are not simply a pawn in someone else's agenda. How does controlling thoughts and feelings relate to prayer? So what he says in the third paragraph, everything that can be seen, touched, explained, argued over is to the imaginative man nothing more than a means for he functions by reason of his controlled imagination in the deep of himself, where every idea exists, and not in relation to something else. So let me try to unpack that. I don't quarrel with appearances. Everything that you can perceive with the five senses, everything that can be seen, touched, explained, argued over, is the imaginative man. This is the person who's in charge of his thoughts and feelings, not just letting his thoughts and feelings just run rampant and out of control. He functions in the deep of himself. I'm not moved by these outer appearances. I recognize appearances for what they are, illusions that can be reduced under the power of a controlled imagination back to the thought and feeling that created it. And so I know that my full work from beginning to end is to eliminate all moods other than the mood of fulfilled desire. So I pull my attention away from the world and I give it wholly to the mood of what I desire. What is it going to feel like when I'm living in the end? So let me get practical with that. So at a church we have 58 members on the roll. We have 58 members. We have some new people that are interested in joining, but we are basically a church that's under 100 people, right? So we're a very intimate community. We do not own our own building. We rent the space, and our service is at 1:00. So we literally break up your day. This ain't no when you come to church, you pretty much you get a little bit of your morning, and then we got your afternoon, and then you get your evening back, right? So those are the constraints. So we know that 1:00 is a service. We got to solve for that, right? And so we do all kinds of creative things that help us to be attractive to people, and really people who come to church just fall in love with a church because it becomes like you become part of a family, and it just becomes okay. We just do things a little bit differently. But we're in this growth stage, and we're believing for our own building. And we're believing that even with 58 people, we're able to have our own building. And so the imaginative person, remember, everything that can be seen, touched, where's the quote? Everything that can be seen, touched, explained, argued over, is to the imaginative person nothing more than a means. Yeah, just a tool. It's a tool to get you somewhere. Everything that we have is a tool, because I'm going to use I because I'm sitting in the seat of the senior minister. I function by reason of my controlled imagination in the deep of myself, where every idea exists in itself and not in relation to anything else. So I go in myself and I sit in the vision that God gave me of these 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds living in good health, not succumbing to disease, putting down canes, getting up out of wheelchairs, right? Vision clearing up, not getting worse as they get older. I sit in what that feels like. What's that going to feel like to I've got a member who is 74 who voiced in class recently that she's interested in being a motivational speaker. Now, anybody looking at that from a practical standpoint be like, why? You can't do that. You're 74 years old. But I know that you agreeing with the power of God is bigger than anything in the world. So her coming on the national stage at that age, if Bob Proctor can do it, why can't she? He's got history. Okay, so does she. She's been in religious science and New Thought for decades. Trust me, she can give Bob Proctor a run for his money. The difference between him and her is simply belief in yourself and how you see yourself. So how's that going to feel, right? Seeing her on the stage getting that being a blessing to people, being recognized as a motivational speaker, right? And I start to sit in that feeling. All I'm looking at that these things that I can manipulate in the outer that I can perceive with my five senses are just means. They're tools for me to move and operate with. But where I operate is in the deep of myself, in the vision that God gave me for this community of older people who are slaying life. And so I'm never moved by, oh, well, this person just went to the hospital with a heart attack. And they can come out the hospital and still slay life. So this is why the thinking is so important, why you got to get a handle on your consciousness. This is how controlling your thoughts and feelings relates to prayer. Because if your thoughts and feelings are not controlled, then you go into the hospital for the heart attack. And as you are recovering and going through the physical expression of recovering, speaking from reality here, from things that have happened this year with some of our members, as you are recovering and going through the experience of recovering, not being your normal self, and the feeling of not having your full capacity, and the ups and downs of that if you can't control your imagination, then when you have a bad day, it's not just a bad day. It's like, oh my God, my body is deteriorating. Oh my God, am I gonna die the way that my mama died? Like, you get what I'm saying? So the controlling your thoughts and feelings is paramount to being able to pray and get a prayer through. That you get this agreement between your thought and your feeling. Put the thinking mind in a state of passive rest. Put the thinking mind in a state of passive rest. This is bottom of 143. The faith required for the successful operation of the law of consciousness, right? So the faith that you need to work your mind the way it's supposed to be worked is a purely subjective faith and is attainable. You can get it upon the cessation, stopping of active opposition, right, on the part of the objective mind of the operator. What is he saying? Relax, chill out, use some music, read some inspirational literature, do whatever you must to occupy the objective mind. Do whatever you must to occupy the objective mind. One of the songs that I put in the blog post, one of my favorite songs is it's called Time, and it's from I believe it's the title, not maybe the title, but the main song from the Inception soundtrack, and it's just a beautiful. I mean, it's a Hans Zimmer masterpiece. Literally, like if you read the comments, like everybody's like, I love this song, and it's amazing. It's about 17 minutes. And literally, I put it on, and I mentioned it last week because it helps me with the box breathing that I explained last week, where you exhale 4 counts, hold 4 counts, inhale 4 counts, hold 4 counts, exhale 4 counts, hold 4 counts, inhale 4 counts. And so it's like a box, right? And so with this song, you can do that, and it steadies the conscious mind. You have to find a way to slow the conscious mind so that the subjective mind can take precedence. The subjective mind knows what to do. There's a book called The Inner Game of Work. Well, The Inner Game of Tennis. There's one called The Inner Game of Work, same author. W. Timothy Gallwey, Gallwey. In this book, he talks about our ability to know exactly what to do, when to do it, if we could occupy the conscious mind. But what happens he discovered this as a tennis coach. What he discovered is that when someone was playing tennis if they couldn't get out of their head, if they couldn't relax the conscious mind, then they would end up making mistakes that they didn't need to make, and it would end up, costing them the game. And what he learned to do as a tennis coach was to give the conscious mind an object to pay attention to, and the subconscious mind or the subjective mind automatically knew what to do to respond to the ball as it was coming across the net. So normally what would happen is that the ball is coming across the net, and inside of a split second, all these things are going through the mind. Oh my God, it's coming this way. It's coming too fast. Oh my God, it's going to be a backhand shot. My backhand shot is terrible. Oh, the last backhand shot. And so it's a split second, all these things that are happening in the mind. What he gave the players he was coaching to do is he would say, when the ball is coming across the net, all I want you to notice is the direction the ball is moving in, right? What he would do is he'd give the conscious mind something to pay attention to. They would notice the direction the ball was moving in, and then they would naturally step into the swing, whether it was a backhand, a forehand, or a lob, or however they needed to respond to the ball coming across the net. But what he effectively did was to help them get out of their head. And so this is the same thing in prayer, is that you are giving your conscious mind something to do. So this is a mantra. This is music. I have found that you can do some type of vigorous exercise. I think it was Tom Bilyeu I heard talk about how he goes and he does this extreme exercise and then he meditates. Tony Robbins is famous for talking about his morning routine. You can just look up Tony Robbins' morning routine. There's a bunch of videos where he's talked about it. But he puts his body through a set of rigors and then he meditates. But what you see people doing is that they are slowing the conscious mind down through a variety of different methods so that then the subjective mind can be impressed. We're in the middle of, and if you're interested, you can still sign up. You can go to upchurch.org. We're in the middle of studying Mae McCarthy's The Path to Wealth. Mae McCarthy's The Path to Wealth. And in The Path to Wealth, what she has you do, again, this is that morning routine, and this is about slowing down the conscious mind. She has you to read something inspirational for just 5 minutes. So y'all know I love my timer. So I get my timer, put my little time on there, and then I sit and I read some type of inspirational literature. I might read Daily Inspiration. I might read Science of Mind. Some type of devotional, something that Ray Taylor puts out, the prayers from 365 Days of Richer Living. I might pull one of those prayers. But what it does is that it occupies the conscious mind. It gives you something to focus on, and it slows the conscious mind down. You can journal. Journaling is a great way. Lita says a new timer. Yes, this timer, I'm so excited about it because it's so visual. So listen, right? Isn't that great? And so as the time goes, you can't see. As the time goes, it closes up. It's the best thing. I love it. It's the best thing since sliced bread. And it's got like a little beep that says, beep, beep. Sorry. All right. It's one of my favorite things. Let me check for some questions. Oh my God, I forgot questions. All right. Sorry, you guys. Yes, I've understood. Thank you. And I also learned a lot from you when you discussed that Lean Gains Before Spiritual Loss and Prosperity. Thank you. Thank you. It's the book I was waiting for. Constance as well. I know for a fact that as you hold the vision and see the building and speak and feel the truth that your building is already there. Yes. We mastermind every Sunday until the manifestation was visible and continue to do so as part of our Sunday service. Your building is there. Claim it now. Thank you. Andrea says, I'm so grateful and inspired by what you're saying about age not being a limit for our goals and dreams. I know I'm not done yet, regardless of just celebrating my 55th birthday. Yes. Yes. Listen, I'm calling forth a new way of aging. Constance says, that sounds like Abraham with their breathing exercise, breathe in, breathe out, but on a different beat that we are not used to. Yes. Yeah, there's a whole work, Constance, Reverend Burnett does a lot of stuff around breath work. It was something that she talked about in the interview that I did with her. And it's an area that I know she's done a lot of work with. But the breath work is one of, I mean, there are lots of like breathing exercises. And if I understand this right, I don't know a lot about yoga. So those of you that do, don't leave me crazy comments. But yoga is not the yogic, you know, downward dog and all of that. I mean, that's a type of yoga, but yoga is about breathing, right? It's about the breath, and that you can manipulate the breath in such a way that you begin to clear the mind. Um, anyway, so I just want to share that in terms of, again, finding ways that slow down the conscious mind. Find the ways that work for you. So I may have suggested these ways and maybe none of them work for you. Don't give up. That's the main thing. Don't give up. Keep looking until you find the one that works for you, because the one that works for you is out there. For me, journaling is a huge one. I absolutely love journaling. I read something in The Magic of Believing Big by David Schwartz that says that when you write, you capture the conscious mind for the time that you have it on the page. That as you're writing, you can't concentrate on anything else. And I thought that was fascinating. I actually had an experience that seems to confirm what he says, which is that um, uh, that when I first learned to pray, I used to journal my prayers because I couldn't sit down and meditate because I couldn't concentrate. And what I found is after years, maybe 4 or 5 years, it felt like, but a length of time, after years of journaling my prayers, I found that I now had the ability to concentrate. So I think that there is definitely some truth to what he says. I just haven't seen any science to back it up, but I thought it was fascinating, this idea that you capture the mind when you write. Alita says, I do 4, 7, 8 breathing. I don't know what that means. 4 equals 7, 8 breathing. You have to tell me what that means, Alita. I don't know that. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, that's Marion. Hey, Marion. Hey. All right, let's keep going. Number 4, belief always trumps a strong will. We give a lot of attention to um, will, right? A strong will. I'm going to make it happen. I'm a rainmaker. Not if your belief don't say it. It is not a strong will that sends the subjective word on its mission, so much as it is clear thinking and feeling the truth of the state affirmed. When belief and will are in conflict, belief invariably wins out. What is belief? Thought plus feeling. So here we come back again to, can we get those thoughts and feelings to agree? When the result eludes you, don't get frustrated. All that it means is the belief is not fully formed in you. That's all that it means. But when belief and will are in conflict, belief will win, period. We do not do what we want, we do what we believe. And he says, get into the spirit of these mental conversations and give them the same degree of reality that you would a telephone conversation. If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever you desire, when you pray, believe that you have received them and you shall have them. The acceptance of the end wills the means. If you will go ahead and just accept the end, go to the end. Go to the end. As Constance was saying, see the building. Sit in the building. Walk around the building. Unlock the building. Close it up. Have church in it. Experience the building. And I love this. And the wisest reflection could not devise more effective means than those which are willed by the acceptance of the end. When you accept the end and let go of the how, it will come about in the most amazing way that you never could have imagined. You never would have put those pieces together the way that they came about. But once you let it go, the accepted end will will the means into expression. So, but it's not a strong will. We have this idea of a rainmaker. You know, um, we celebrate people like, well, Tony Robbins, or we celebrate people like, you know, Tom Bilyeu, or Oprah Winfrey, or I'm just naming people, but you know what I'm saying, the people who are high achievement, and we assume that they are strong-willed, but they cannot violate the laws of the universe in order to get where they are. And so what we are actually witnessing is a clear agreement between thinking and feeling toward a desired end. If you get clear on your thinking and feeling about the truth of the desired end, what looks like magic to other people will become actual reality for you. And so it's to get clear on the thinking and feeling. Sit in that feeling. You know, that feeling, again, I'm talking to myself, sit in that feeling of these older people. I put that in quotes because that's just a human invention, this idea of older. I mean, older in the sense, if it doesn't have any other meaning of how we define older, right? But sitting in the feeling of what it feels like to see people begin to really live their dreams in their 70s, you know, putting out books and speaking engagements and publishing CDs and creating movies and whatever else they want to do, whatever else that people want to do. The feeling of that, well, how good is that going to feel to be responsible for that? You know, what is that, the joy of that experience, and to just sit in that before I go to church, to just sit in that feeling. You know, when I'm prepping for a sermon, to just sit in that feeling, that energy, that and then when I'm seeing the people, to not see the people as they are, but to represent them in my mind as God has told me they're meant to be. That the means for that to come about will will itself into expression. That's what this is about. That's why this is so powerful. I'm telling you, if we get this, y'all, it's game changer. It's game changer. Alita says, breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 7, breathe out for 8 while meditating. Oh, that's interesting. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 7, out for 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like I would like pass out on that 7. Hold for 7, out for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I like that. And she says, I read somewhere today that writing has a vibration. Well, that's good because I love to write. So that fits. Constance says, another way of saying that is, we do not get what we want, we get what we believe. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Let me keep going because we are at 8:02 and I got like 4 more points. How do imagination and faith work together? Neville's words. Imagination is the beginning of all growth of all forms. Starts with the imagination. The imagination is what shapes it. Faith is the substance out of which they are formed. So faith holds it steady. Imagination gives it shape. Faith holds it steady. Faith concentrates on the idea of love. Imagination shapes it into the relationship that you have. Faith concentrates on the idea of security. Imagination shapes it into a home. Faith concentrates on the idea of wealth. Imagination shapes it into the money that shows up in your pocket. Imagination is the beginning of all growth of all forms. Imagination is about form. Faith is about seeing possibility. And faith is the substance out of which it comes. Faith is the substance out of which it comes. The subjective mind, your feeling nature, your heart, your subconscious mind is completely controlled by suggestion. So your job is to suggest to your subconscious mind what you want. So Valentine's Day just passed, right? Let's say you want to be in a relationship. What you don't do is go on Facebook and mean mug all the pictures of all the couples. Okay. What you do is learn to feel what you want until you develop an inner conviction, or what Neville calls a confident state, confident expectation of a state. It's a conviction. In the old church, they said he convicted my spirit. But I won't go into all that, but I will say the idea is that you become convinced of it, that this is mine and I should have it. And so you learn to sit in the feeling of love completed in you until there's an inner conviction and you are unmoved by whether or not somebody is in your life or not. And the subconscious mind is completely controlled by suggestion. What causes failure in prayer? I love this. This is the last paragraph on page 145. Failure is always due to an antagonistic autosuggestion. Now, let me tell you what he means by autosuggestion. You guys probably recognize that term from, oh my God, Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill. I wrote about it. I wrote about it in the Money Poems. That autosuggestion. And what happens is that you have these thoughts and feelings that are presenting themselves to you on a continual basis, right? It's a train of thought, right? And so what happens with the autosuggestion is that it's a negative or antagonistic autosuggestion. And it's just happening because it's your train of thought. It's the way that you've been thinking. It's the habit in which you have been thinking and feeling. And so what Neville is saying is that failure is due to an antagonistic autosuggestion by the patient, by the person receiving the thought, right? And he does a lot of talking here about praying for other people or people not being healed by medicine, arising from objective doubt of the power of the medicine. So you go in, they give you chemo, you don't believe that it's healing you. You're still paying attention to whatever is the appearance in the body. And so you have this, your conscious mind, you're having difficulty suspending it to believe in the power of the medicine or the relic, or from doubt of the truth of the theory. That many of us, either from too little emotion or too much intellect, both of which are stumbling blocks in prayer. You need some emotion in prayer. You need some emotion in prayer, and you need less intellect in prayer. There's stumbling blocks in prayer because what's happening is that you don't have enough of what you need. You don't have enough emotion, and you got too much intellect, and so you're having trouble denying what the senses are reporting. The senses are reporting that this cancer is all over the place. That's what the senses are reporting. The doctor gave me a report. I feel like things are tough, right? And so I feel like things are tough. And so I'm having a real hard time denying what the senses do. I'm having a tough time denying what the senses report. And so in that instance, it's that Paul says you got to stir up the gift. In that instance, it's that I've got to drop this intellect out. So I've got to double down on the things that help me suspend my conscious mind. And I've got to double down on the things that help me rev up the feeling nature. Whatever that is, whether it's music or being in a spiritual community or writing or whatever that is. but I've got to ratchet up the emotion and dial down the thinking in the right direction. Do not be moved by external appearances. So this is Neville's words. Visible states are either vibratory effects of subconscious vibrations within you, or they are the vibratory causes of corresponding vibrations with you. Either way, don't be moved. Either way, don't be moved. Only that which you want to see objectified in your experience be awakened in you. Only let that which you want to see objectified in your experience. If you don't want to see it, do not let it wake up something in you. If you don't want to see it, don't let it wake up something in you. So, this is really poignant right now, because does that mean you stick your head in the sand, pretend you don't see the hurt in the world? I don't think so. As a thinking spiritual being, you are part of the solution for what ails the world. The world needs our compassion and our creativity. And I think all of us are probably aware that a high school in South Florida just experienced a mass shooting by a former student. And when I read those headlines yesterday, I cried for those families whose babies wouldn't be coming home. And I felt such anger and contempt for the thoughts and prayers being sent by gun advocates. It just, and those who could make a difference, but won't. And it just made me angry. But this spiritual study has got to have some feet underneath it. It's got to have some feet underneath it. It has to have some kind of practical application. And so my prayer now is, what part do I have to play in bringing about a right solution to this crisis? Because as I read the accounts emerging from the shooting, I thought about how it might feel if something like that happened at Jordan School. I would be devastated, as I imagine those parents whose babies are not coming home feel right now. So, in my opinion, this is my soapbox, I feel like we need to be involved. I don't think this is a put your head in the sand message. I think that we need to be involved supporting men and women who support policies that affirm life, and not to grow numb to the sheer numbers of people that are being harmed by assault rifles and other artillery. We have to remember that all transformations of force are reversible. And so we didn't get here by accident, but by choice. And we can awaken within ourselves a new reality and a new truth. And I love the way that Neville ends this chapter, because he's quoting Jesus when he says, the fields are ripe, the fields are ripe, but the laborers are few. And Neville says he never waits 4 months for the harvest. If in 4 months the harvest will awaken in him a state of joy, then inversely, the joy of the harvest now will awaken the harvest now. And so we don't wait for the sense of relief that comes when we have sensible gun laws. We awaken a sense of relief now as we work with focus and patience, knowing that our desired outcome is assured. It's a matter of a spiritual law. And so awakening yourself right now the feeling of a world with sensible gun laws that protected citizens, where moms and dads are not worried about their babies coming home. The horror of that, I read one account and it just made me so angry, especially when I heard some FBI person laying responsibility at the people who saw his Instagram post and should have said something. Well, yeah, but why is he 18 and able to buy an assault rifle? And I read this account. There was this family had 2 children at this high school. One was a senior boy and a freshman girl, and they couldn't get in touch with the daughter on Wednesday. They didn't know where she was, and they're hoping, well, maybe she put her phone in her backpack, and then they find out today that she's not coming home. But again, we are imaginative people. We are spiritual giants. We can do something. And so it's awakening in ourselves now the feeling of relief that this is fixed, and then listening for whatever action needs to be taken. But knowing that something must be done, and we don't want any action, we want right action. Because another day should not pass where somebody's baby is not coming home and we could have done something about it. Just burns me to mm, 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 mm. So for me, this spirituality's got to have some teeth in it. It can't just be, we got all this good stuff and we get another Mercedes. Mercedes are nice, but somebody's baby's not home tonight. Somebody's hurting right now because we're protecting money. What do you want awakened in you? Time to do something big. What do you want awakened in you? What end is worthy of your time and investment? Won't you awaken it in you now? And if this webinar helped you, please subscribe and share it with a friend. Thank you so much for tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let us be the change that we want to see. We've been put here for a purpose. We're not just learning this just to learn this. We're learning this to be change agents in the world. We're learning this to be change agents in the world. We're learning this to go out and do something about it. I've said this. I feel like what we have is the spirituality for the 21st century. Well, we got to act like it. And we got to get out there and talk to people and engage them and begin. Neville already told you they unimaginative. So get your vision together. God bless you. Thank you. Next Thursday, controlled reverie. Controlled reverie. This is about controlling that conscious mind, that controlled reverie. That's what he talks about, that reverie where you put the conscious mind in it's a passive state, but it's still capable of absorption. It's a passive state, but you're still capable of absorption. So that's what next week is about. It's the page 148 to 150. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Oh, let me say it one more time so we don't forget. Okay, got it. We're going to Zoom next week. Zoom. So if you're operating from your phone or your tablet, you need to download the Zoom app on your phone. It's free. And you just put in the meeting ID. If you are logging in from your computer, you go to zoom.us. I put the link will be in there, but you go to zoom.us. And it also has a dial-in capability where you dial a number and put in the meeting ID, and you can just listen to the audio. So all those options are available. It will be recorded, and I will work on somebody uploading it in a timely manner. Try to make the live broadcast, but I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Yeah, it'll work. I won't play that. I'll figure something out. Constance says, thank you for this lesson. I've been missing you in my classes. What book are we reading from? Need to speak with you about CEUs. Yes. This is Neville Goddard. So the book that we're reading from specifically is Prayer, the Art of Believing. But it's inside this anthology, Neville anthology, called the Neville Reader. So I believe you can get Prayer, the Art of Believing online, and then this book you can also get on Amazon.com. And if you go to RevSherri.com, in the lower right-hand corner, there's a link that'll take you right there, so you can make sure you get the right book, because there's a bunch of Neville books that are out there, but this one is called the Neville Reader, and he's awesome. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.